What makes a captivating villain? Their goofy but memorable outfits, a compelling backstory, or a complete psychopath?
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, according to the famous quote often attributed to Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. When it comes to video game antagonists, few characters are as iconic and memorable as Vaas Montenegro from Far Cry 3. With his wild hair, tattoos, and unhinged personality, Vaas is a character who has captured the imaginations of gamers everywhere. Let's take a closer look at what makes Vaas the perfect antagonist, how he is portrayed as the perfect villain, and why he makes us feel uneasy.
So they say to me, they say, Vaas, who the f*** is it going to be? Them or me? Me or them?
This is Vaas Montenegro, a villain so menacing he made me play a Far Cry game. But first, are you subscribed? No? Everyone watching this video isn't subscribed, so please sub to the channel so I can feed my 50 children. Far Cry 3, the game that taught us all the importance of not getting too caught up in the beauty of a tropical paradise and forgetting about the man-eating tigers that want to rip our faces off. Far Cry 3 was a truly fantastic game. It had everything you could want in an open-world shooter, a beautiful and immersive environment, challenging enemies, and a compelling story that kept you hooked from start to finish. Far Cry 3 is a first-person shooter video game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and released in 2012. The game is set on a tropical island in the Pacific Ocean. This is where your story begins. You are Jason Brody, a young man who finds himself stranded on the island after a vacation goes wrong. You must rescue your friends from the clutches of a group of pirates led by the ruthless Vaas Montenegro, while also confronting his own inner demons. Far Cry 3 open-world gameplay is surreal. The island is vast, filled with wildlife, enemy camps, and hidden treasures, giving you a lot of freedom to explore and engage with the world on their terms. The game also features a skill tree that allows players to unlock new abilities and upgrades as they progress, further enhancing the sense of progression and customization. The real star of Far Cry 3 was the flamethrower. There's just something incredibly satisfying about lighting your enemies on fire and watching them run around like panicked chickens. Far Cry 3 was a breakthrough game for the franchise, introducing a new level of storytelling and character development that had not been seen in previous Far Cry games. The protagonist, Jason Brody, was a relatable character with a clear arc throughout the story. Far Cry 5, on the other hand, took a different approach to storytelling. The game was set in rural Montana and pitted the player against a cult leader and his followers. While the game had its moments, many felt that the story lacked the depth and nuance of Far Cry 3. While Far Cry 3 has been praised for its strong characters and complex narrative, Far Cry 5's story has been criticized for its lack of depth and nuance. Far Cry 3's development of its characters is amazing. You, as Jason Brody, goes through a significant character arc that involves your gradual descent into violence and madness. At the beginning of the game, you are an ordinary young man on vacation with your friends. You initially struggle with the violence and killing required to survive on the island. However, as you become more embroiled in the conflict between the pirates and the Rakyat, your morality becomes increasingly flexible, and you become more comfortable with killing. In contrast, Far Cry 5's story takes place in rural Montana and follows the player character's efforts to take down a doomsday cult led by Joseph Seed, a charismatic but dangerous figure who believes he has been chosen by God to lead his followers to salvation. While the game's setting is visually striking and its premise is intriguing, the story falls short in several key areas. Far Cry 5's characters are not as well developed as those in Far Cry 3. Joseph Seed is an interesting villain, but his motivations and backstory are never fully explored, and the other members of the cult are mostly one-dimensional. The game also fails to explore the themes it sets up, such as the role of religion in society and the idea of predestination, in a meaningful way. The game includes several subplots and side missions that don't always tie in with the main story, and the ending is divisive and unsatisfying for many players. The first meeting with Vaas Montenegro is one of the most memorable and impactful moments in Far Cry 3.
Look me in the eye! You're my bitch! I rule this fucking kingdom. Shut the fuck up!
It sets the tone for the rest of the game and establishes Vaas as a truly intimidating and unpredictable villain. The scene starts with you waking up in a cage, along with your brother Grant. Vaas interrogates the pair, threatening to torture and kill them. After he leaves, your brother manages to free himself and then you. You both sneak through the camp trying to find an escape route, your brother even killing some pirates.
Jay, look at me. I can't find Lisa and Riley and the others without you. So pull it together, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's looking up. It's looking like you and your brother are going to escape from the clutches of Vaas.
No! Stay with me, Grant! Please, don't die! Hold on, Grant, hold on! Hold on! No!
You wanna fuck?
Grant!
I like that. No, I respect that. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. And if this jungle doesn't eat you up alive, I will.
Vaas is a terrifying villain. His sadistic behavior, his penchant for mind games, and his unpredictable nature all contribute to his reputation as a truly terrifying villain. Even the slightest encounter with him can send shivers down one's spine. His presence looms large over the game's narrative. Whether he is laughing maniacally, staring down the barrel of a gun, or delivering one of his iconic monologues, Vaas is a villain that players will never forget. Vaas is the leader of a group of pirates who are in control of the island and use it as a hub for drug trafficking. From the first moment he appears on screen, Vaas makes an impact with his charismatic personality, erratic behavior, and terrifying threats. Vaas is a complex character with many layers, which makes him a perfect villain. On one hand, he is an extremely violent and sadistic criminal who kills without remorse. On the other hand, he is also a broken and traumatized individual who struggles with his inner demons. The most fascinating thing about Vaas is his unpredictability. He is a loose cannon who can switch from joking around to killing someone in a split second. This makes him a dangerous opponent for the player, as they can never know what he might do next. Vaas also has a talent for mind games, manipulating his victims with psychological tactics and playing with their emotions. Vaas' distinct look adds to a menacing aura, a scarred face, a red tank top and cargo shorts. His eyes are always bloodshot, and he has a habit of scratching himself, which gives him a deranged look. Vaas' appearance is meant to convey his unstable nature and his disregard for societal norms. When comparing Vaas to other villains in media, it's clear that he stands out as a unique character. He shares some similarities with other villains, such as the Joker from Batman and Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. Like the Joker, Vaas is a chaotic force who enjoys causing mayhem and is driven by a desire to see the world burn. Like Anton Chigurh, Vaas is a ruthless killer who is relentless in his pursuit of his goals. However, Vaas also has his own distinct personality traits that make him stand out. He has a tragic backstory that explains some of his behavior, which is something that many villains lack. He also has a sense of humor that adds to his charm, even though he is a despicable person. Far Cry 3 is a game that takes you on a roller coaster ride of emotions, exploring the darkest aspects of human nature in a brutal and unforgiving world. As Jason Brody, you are thrust into a tropical island paradise that turns into a nightmare. After escaping captivity, you team up with the Rakyat, a tribe of indigenous islanders who live on the island of Rook. They are at war with the pirates who have invaded their land and are a key ally to you as you try to rescue your friends and escape the island. The Rakyat is a proud and ancient tribe with a rich culture and traditions. They are deeply connected to the land and the wildlife, and they believe in a balance between nature and humans. The tribe is led by Citra, a charismatic and mysterious woman who is revered by her people, and the sister of Vaas Montenegro. As you team up with the Rakyat, you learn about their history and culture. The Rakyat teaches you valuable skills such as hunting, gathering and crafting. They also provide you with weapons and support in your fight against the pirates. The Rakyat is a fascinating aspect of Far Cry 3's story, as it explores the clash between modernity and tradition and the impact of colonization on indigenous cultures. The Rakyat serves as a powerful symbol of resistance against the pirates, who represent the forces of exploitation and oppression. Throughout the game, you go through a transformation that is central to the story. You start as a naive and inexperienced young man who is afraid of the violence that surrounds him. But as you learn to survive in the harsh conditions of the island, you become more and more hardened and desensitized to the violence. The game's exploration of your mental state is one of its most impressive aspects. As you become more violent and unstable, your behavior becomes increasingly erratic, and your interactions with the other characters become more tense and confrontational. The game's story is a powerful exploration of the psychological toll that violence and trauma can have have on a person. One of the most compelling aspects of Far Cry 3 is the dynamic between you and Vaas. Their interactions are electric, with Vaas constantly taunting and challenging you. Vaas's influence on the story is significant, as he serves as a foil to you, showcasing the potential darkness that lurks within anyone who is exposed to the harsh realities of the island. The game's exploration of themes such as colonialism and exploitation are also noteworthy. The pirates and their drug trade serve as a metaphor for the exploitation of the island's resources, highlighting the brutal reality of colonization and the damage it can do to indigenous cultures. The game also delves into the concept of identity, with your journey questioning what it means to be a hero and a villain in a violent and brutal world. After escaping Vaas's clutches, you find yourself stranded on a deserted island, trying to rescue your friends. While exploring the island, you come across Vaas again, who taunts you and tries to kill you once again. During this encounter, Vaas reveals some of his twisted philosophy about the nature of life and death, telling you that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy. The first time somebody told me that, I don't know, I thought they were bullshitting me, so boom, I shot him. The thing is, okay, he was right. And then I started seeing it everywhere I looked, all these fucking pricks, everywhere I looked, doing the exact same fucking thing, over and over and over and over and over again, thinking this time is going to be different.
This line has become one of the most iconic quotes from the game and has been widely referenced in popular culture. As the confrontation escalates, Vaas appears to have the upper hand, but at the last moment you manage to escape once again, narrowly avoiding death. This encounter sets the stage for the rest of the game, as you become more determined than ever to rescue his friends and take down Vaas and his gang. Vaas represents a particular kind of madness and chaos that runs counter to your more conventional values and beliefs. Throughout the game, Vaas embodies the anarchic, violent spirit of the island, and his philosophy is one of nihilism and destruction. He revels in violence and seems to take pleasure in inflicting pain and suffering on others. The impact of Vaas on the game is significant in several ways. For one, he is a memorable and iconic villain who has become a beloved figure in gaming culture. Moreover, Vaas serves as a foil to you, highlighting the contrast between the two of you and their worldviews. Whereas you are a relatively normal guy thrust into a violent and dangerous situation, Vaas is a true product of his environment, embodying the anarchic, violent spirit of the island.
Peekaboo, motherfucker.
This is a turning point in the game's storyline, as it marks a significant escalation in the conflict between you and Vaas and sets the stage for the game's final act. During the encounter, you are captured by Vaas and subjected to a brutal interrogation, during which Vaas tortures and humiliates you. Throughout this sequence, Vaas taunts you with his nihilistic worldview, telling you that the only way to survive on the island is to embrace the madness and chaos that surrounds them. As the interrogation continues, you begin to lose your grip on reality, experiencing vivid hallucinations and struggling to distinguish between what is real and what is not. This descent into madness is a key theme of the game, as you are pushed to the brink by the violence and brutality of his surroundings. The repercussions of this encounter are significant, as you emerge from the interrogation a changed person, with a newfound sense of purpose and determination. You are now more committed than ever to rescuing your friends and taking down Vaas. At the same time, your experiences have left you traumatized and mentally unstable, and you struggle to come to terms with the violence and bloodshed that you have witnessed and participated in. As the game progresses, you become increasingly disconnected from your old life and begin to embrace the madness and chaos of the island, edging closer and closer to insanity. This theme of madness and insanity is a central element of Far Cry 3's narrative, as the game explores the psychological toll that violence and trauma can take on a person. Through Jason's experiences, the game asks questions about the nature of sanity, morality, and human nature, and challenges players to consider the consequences of their actions in a world where violence is the norm. Unlike many video game villains who are one-dimensional caricatures, Vaas is a fully realized character with a rich backstory and a complex psychology. He is a damaged and traumatized individual who has been shaped by his experiences on the island, and his interactions with you reveal a lot about his worldview and his motivations. Throughout the game, you and Vaas engage in a psychological battle, trying to outmaneuver and outsmart each other. This dynamic creates a sense of tension and drama that drives the game's narrative forward, and it makes the conflict between the two of you feel personal and meaningful. Moreover, Vaas represents a kind of madness and chaos that is in direct opposition to your more conventional values and beliefs. This contrast between the two of you highlights the central themes of the game, which are about the nature of violence, trauma, and human nature. Through his interactions with Vaas, you are forced to confront the darker aspects of your own psyche and to question the assumptions and beliefs that you held for most of your life. Nature versus nurture is a classic debate in psychology that focuses on the extent to which genetics, nature, or environment, nurture, plays a role in shaping human behavior and traits. In the context of the characters Vaas and Jason, this debate can shed light on how their individual characteristics and actions are influenced by their genetics and environment. Vaas is a violent and unstable character who leads a group of pirates on the island. His behavior suggests that he may have a genetic predisposition towards aggression and impulsivity. However, it's also likely that his environment has played a significant role in shaping his behavior. As a child, he was exposed to extreme violence and abuse, which likely contributed to his current state of mind. Vaas's upbringing and life experiences have likely played a significant role in shaping his personality and behavior, with nurture playing a larger role than nature. In contrast, Jason is initially portrayed as a mild-mannered tourist who becomes a violent warrior as he fights to save his friends. While he has a genetic predisposition towards physical abilities, such as strength and coordination, his environment plays a more significant role in his transformation. The harsh and dangerous environment of the island forces him to develop survival skills and engage in violent acts, which may have been dormant in him before. This suggests that nature plays a smaller role in shaping his behavior, while nurture plays a larger role. The debate between nature versus nurture is complex and not easily resolved. In the case of Vaas and Jason, both nature and nurture have likely played a role in shaping their personalities and behaviors. Understanding the interplay between genetics and environment can help us better understand how individuals develop and why they behave in certain ways. Vaas is a perfect antagonist because he is a complex, multi-dimensional character who challenges you on multiple levels. His impact on you as Jason is significant as he serves as a kind of mirror for you, reflecting back to you the violence, chaos, and madness that he is struggling to come to terms with. Through your interaction with Vaas, you are pushed to your limit and forced to confront your inner demon, making for a compelling and engaging narrative experience. In addition to his complexity and psychological depth, Vaas is also a captivating character due to his captivating performance by actor Michael Mando. Mando's performance is both chilling and charismatic, drawing you into the character's world and making you feel both drawn to and repelled by him. One of the most interesting aspects of Vaas's character is the way in which he embodies the themes of the game. Far Cry 3 is a game that explores the nature of violence, trauma, and the human psyche, and Vaas is a character who personifies these themes. He is a damaged and traumatized individual who has been shaped by his experiences on the island, and his violent and chaotic behavior reflects the brutal and unforgiving nature of the game's world. Through his interactions with you, Vaas forces you to confront these themes head-on. He challenges your assumptions about morality, violence, and the human condition, forcing you to question your own beliefs and values. This is particularly effective because you are forced to experience these themes firsthand, rather than simply being told about them through dialogue or cutscenes. Unlike many other video game villains, Vaas is not simply a final boss to be defeated at the end of the game. Instead, he is a constant presence throughout the game, appearing in cutscenes, missions, and even as a random encounter in the game's open world. This constant presence gives you a sense of urgency and danger, as you are always aware of Vaas's presence and the threat that he poses. It also creates a sense of immersion, as you feel as you are truly engaged in a struggle against a powerful and dangerous foe. Vaas's character is also effective because of the way in which he challenges your expectations. At the beginning of the game, you are presented with a stereotypical image of a tropical paradise, complete with beautiful beaches and friendly locals. However, as the game progresses, you begin to see the dark and violent underbelly of the island, and Vaas serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk just beneath the surface. Vaas is a highly effective antagonist. His complexity, psychological depth, and his relationship with the protagonist. He embodies the central themes of the game and challenges your assumptions about morality, violence, and the human condition. Additionally, his constant presence in the game creates a sense of urgency and immersion, making him a memorable and compelling character.
You know, if death ever came for me, I think I would grab it by the throat and I would kill it. You would kill death, huh? Yeah. And then I would have a conversation with God. But what would you say to God, huh? I would have a cold beer with God on a sunny beach. But what would you say to God, huh? I would say...
Subscribe to my YouTube channel. If not, you get 10 years of bad luck.